The flying knee knockout is one of the most dramatically spectacular parts of mixed martial arts. The view of a fighter flying through the air, knee crashing into their opponent's chin, and that dramatic, almost slow motion fall to the canvas makes for amazing drama that few other moments in MMA can provide. And one of the all-time greatest of those magical displays of violent power came back on July 6, 2019 in Las Vegas, Nevada, on the main card of UFC 239. Fresh off his debut victory, a controversial one over Robbie Lawler at UFC 235, former Bellator and ONE champion Ben Askren looked poised to take a charge at UFC Gold. The man in front of him, looking to prevent that ascension into the rank of top contender, none other than Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. Masvidal needed just 5 seconds to launch himself into a running leap from across the octagon, connecting his knee square onto Askren's neck. The result was a highlight for the ages. You'd be hard-pressed to argue that Jorge Masvidal doesn't have the most iconic flying knee KO in UFC history, but he's not the only one in MMA with a wildly impressive flying knee on their highlight reel. What's up guys, Shaquille Majuri here for Combat Culture. Just a quick reminder, if you can please hit subscribe, tap the notification bell, and leave a like on this video. That goes such a long way to helping us do what we do. Now, in celebration of UFC 251 Kamaru Usman vs Jorge Masvidal 2, here are 5 of the most impressive flying knee finishes in MMA history. Number 1. Kid Yamamoto vs Kazuyuki Miyata. Well before Norifumi Yamamoto ever made his debut in the UFC, the founder of Crazy B was already a legend in Japan. Often fighting as high as 155 pounds, the 5'4" kid ran off an astounding 17-1 record before injury slowed down his career, picking up wins over Kaol Uno, Genki Sudo, Hani Yaya, and Bibiano Fernandez on the way. But no victory was more iconic than his 2006 KO of future Dream featherweight title contender Kazuyuki Miyata. Every bit as devastating as Jorge Masvidal, Yamamoto opened the bout by sprinting headlong at Miyata, drilling him with the leaping blow just 4 seconds into the first round. One of the fastest KOs in MMA history, and faster than any recorded knockout in Pride, Bellator, Strikeforce, or the UFC. Yamamoto may not have hit the octagon in his fighting prime, but on his way there he authored one of the sport's all-time greatest knockouts. Number 2. Michael Venom Page vs Evangelista Cyborg. Michael Page has been one of Bellator's hottest highlight reel producing commodities for years. First hitting the promotion back in 2014, Page went undefeated for his first 9 bouts in the Bellator cage, including KO victories over Ricky Rainey, Rudy Bears, Charlie Ontiveros, and his most shocking highlight to date, a flying knee KO of former Strikeforce title contender Evangelista Cyborg. A black belt grappler under Cristiano Marcelo with years of high-level MMA experience, some wondered if Santos could be the first fighter to really take Page to school on the mats. And true to form, the Brazilian got Page down early in the first and spent several minutes suffocating in top control. But every round starts on the feet, and Cyborg's wrestling game wasn't in nearly as much evidence for round 2. After minutes of taunting, Page finally baited his opponent to wade in with a couple wild hooks. Waiting on the counter was a perfectly placed jump knee that sent Santos sprawling to the mats in agony with a knee-sized divot in the middle of his forehead. Fortunately, Santos was able to recover with reconstructive surgery and has since retired from MMA to focus on his coaching career. Number 3. Anderson the Spider Silva vs Carlos Newton. 3 years before Spencer Fisher vaulted up and over Matt Wyman for his own dramatic KO win, future UFC legend Anderson Silva grabbed his own dramatic high-flying finish over a former UFC champion. Still something of an unknown at the time, Silva was just starting to make his name with Pride FC back in 2003, having split his time with the Brazilian regional circuit and Shuto to build an 8-1 record as a pro. 2 wins in Japan's largest MMA promotion saw him taking a serious step forward in competition. However, against the Ronin Carlos Newton. Newton was less than a year removed from his rematch loss against Matt Hughes in a bid to recapture the welterweight belt, but had picked up a victory over BJJ icon Renzo Gracie in the interim. Newton took Silva down early in the first round, even making it to mount at one point, on his way to what appeared to be a potentially dominating victory, out-grappling the Spider on the mats. Eventually though, Silva's peppering offense off his back seemed to frustrate Newton and wear on him. In a shocking decision, the referee stood the fighters up, giving Silva a yellow card for stalling, but restarted the bout on the feet. A much more tentative Newton ducked from a shot from range and got absolutely obliterated by a perfectly timed flying knee. Silva would lose his next bout via a wild submission upset to Daiju Takase and bounced around between promotions for the next 3 years before finally landing in the UFC in 2006, where he built his legacy as MMA's all-time greatest middleweight and possible pound-for-pound best. Number 4. Jose Aldo vs. Cub Swanson. Back in 2009, Cub Swanson and Jose Aldo were both fighters on the rise in the UFC's lower weight class arena, World Extreme Cage Fighting. Aldo hit the ground running with his new promotional home in 2008, cranking out 4 straight knockout victories, heading to a title elimination fight with none other than Killer Cub. After a touch of the gloves, Aldo stepped forward with a brutal skip knee attack that sent Swanson to the mat, clutching his face. A couple follow-up shots and the fight was over, just 8 seconds after it started. Swanson and Aldo never met again in the cage, and that was the last time that Swanson was in reach of a major MMA belt. And number 5, BJ Penn vs. Sherk. By the time BJ Penn worked his way back to the UFC lightweight title after the promotion's failed tournament in 2003, he was an absolute buzzsaw. The prodigy had competed as high as 191 pounds fighting overseas for K1 in Japan, but dropped back down to lightweight after failing to get by legendary welterweight champions George St. Pierre and Matt Hughes at 170. His return to 155 came against Jens Pulver in 2007 and was followed by a fight for the vacant title against Joe Stevenson. After a second-round submission victory to secure the belt, Penn faced powerhouse wrestle boxer, the muscle shark, Sherk, for his first title defense. Penn handedly outboxed Sherk for the majority of 15 minutes until right before the bell to end the third round, when he fired off a 3-punch salvo that sent Sherk reeling back into the cage wall. As Sherk bounced forward, Penn launched himself upward, meeting his opponent with devastating force. And that is all for today's video, folks. Let us know who has your favorite flying knee KO in MMA history, and what are some that we missed. Jeremy Stevens, Johnny Walker, and Edson Barboza come to mind for me, but let us know in the comments. One last reminder, if you can please hit subscribe, tap the notification bell, and leave a like on this video. That does a ton to help us grow. You can follow me on Twitter at Shaq_Fu, that's Shaq with a K. Enjoy UFC 261 and beyond. We'll catch you next time right here on Combat Culture.